woke my dog up there. Hold on for a sec. There we go. Just trying to get that set up. All right. Let's move that over here. And, well, good morning, everybody, and happy President's Day. I know a lot of you have this day off. First of all, thank you all for watching. If you are watching post live after it's been uploaded, thank you still. But yeah, pretty much the point of this is to, talk a little MLP FIM. And the first thing we're going to talk about, because I got a lot to talk about here, I want to talk about episode 10 of this previous season, which was known as a royal problem. A royal problem happened around last year, of course, spring. And like I said in my review, I pretty much echo the sentiments of a lot of people, from the people that did the bronies reaction video to it, to the to people that have talked about it at Equestria Daily, the MLP forums, stuff like that. Pretty much I kind of echo the sentiments a little bit, because the episode was really good. I don't think we can say anything else other than it was really good. It was probably one of the better episodes that they have done. And I can't say any other good things about it. I mean, you have Nicole Oliver, who's voiced several other characters on the show, but is primarily known for voicing Celestia, Princess Celestia. She gets nominated for an award. Again, I can't specifically say what the awards were, but she got nominated for her best voice acting in a series, in an episodic series. In this case being Friendship is Magic, and the episode being A Royal Problem, because she not only brought much needed characterization and depth to Celestia that a lot of fans felt was needed for a long time, but she really brought it as the alter ego, as that nightmarish version of Celestia in Daybreaker. And a lot of people just loved seeing that and basically felt that this was long overdue. And not only was it long overdue, but it was something that needed to be done for a long time. It was something that needed to be done years ago, if you will, or seasons or whatever. Basically, this was something, Royal Problem, that when it happened, is basically a moment that fans have been waiting for. It's like, yeah, we got some episodes centering around Luna. That's great. Luna deserves those, no doubt about it. But we never really got any that really showed off what Celestia could do. We got a hint of it with Celestial Advice, or we got a taste of it with Celestial Advice. We got a hint of it the season before, as well as another hint of it even in the season was before that, which was season 5, I think. We um, pretty much got an idea of what we were going to be in store for when it came to the series. Oh, it was going to come to her characterization whenever they would get to it. We were getting these subtle hints here and there. And for us to finally see it come full circle in Royal Problem, it's like I said in my review, to paraphrase Michael Cole and Corey Graves when they were doing the commentary during the Women's Royal Rumble match a few weeks ago. There was a spot in the Rumble where Lana slaps Sonya Deville, slaps her down, and then she just goes and attacks and tackles Liv Morgan. And basically, Michael Cole said that Lana was all fired up, and Corey Graves followed that up by saying, "Where did this come from?" And the same can be said for Princess Celestia in A Royal Problem. It's like, whoa, where did this come from? Where did this side of her come from? We've never seen this side of her before. I mean, the fact that it all starts basically in a way with Starlight basically telling her, telling them, hey, I think I know what the problem is. I think I know what the friendship problem is that I was sent here to solve. And and just the reaction on Celestia's face, it's the tone in her voice. I think some people pointed that out. It's like at first she's all happy to hear that and wanting to know what it is. And then the moment Starlight says, "It's you two," her voice goes from that sweet, like, "Oh, what is it?" That to, "Excuse me." It's like, "What you just say?" It's like there was that moment where basically you didn't think you'd ever see. I mean, that instant change in tone of her voice during her reaction when Starlight basically said, "It's you two. That's the problem I've been sent here to solve." You knew right there. It's like, whoa, where did that come from? Where did that scene come from? And it just went from there. And it's like, holy crap. It's like, holy crap, what? It's like, what is going on here now? What is happening? And it's like, whoa, what is going on here now? What is happening? And it was just, to me, it's just amazing to. It was just amazing to me and a lot of people that saw it. It was just amazing to see that change in character tone for Celestia, for Nicole Oliver to take a character like Celestia and take that sweet, understanding character and forgiving character and just turn it up a notch. I mean, just turn it up times 10 a little bit. And just with that instant reaction when she's like, "Excuse me," when Starlight calls him out and says, "Hey, it's you two that have been sent here to solve the friendship problem about," you knew right from there. It's like, whoa, oh, there might be something here we've never seen before. And the moment the sisters confront each other, I mean, the moment they confront each other, because Starlight just wants them to explain how they maybe inadvertently hurting each other's feelings. That's when that's when it just all comes out. Finally, it's like with this whole confrontation. It's like that is just the moment right there where it's like, okay, all bets are off. Just gonna let it all out. Because there are times, and this is why I think the episode was so good, because a lot of people in real life, even the fans of Bronies, the Pegasisters, they can relate with these kind of moments where it's like you've just had enough, and now you just gotta let it all out, let all the frustration out, and let all the anger and whatever that you have just come out. Just let it all out. Just finally free yourself of it. And that's what happens here between the sisters. And it's in this confrontation, in this moment where they're both letting out the frustrations at each other, that we see a side of Celestia as like, holy crap. you know, where has this Celestia been the whole time? Because she's basically, you know, in a sense, mocking her sister, saying, "Hey, at least when I'm around, before I even turn in, I make an effort to smile." And then she even mocks her about the dream, saying, "Oh, you think you got it so hard? You go around at night, flitting around, giving ponies lovely dreams. Oh, it sounds simply awful." And it's like, and I'm thinking, holy crap. Just like anybody else, I'm thinking, holy, what? It's like, where did this side of Celestia come from? It's like, where has this side been? You know, it's like, where has this side been? And it looks like Dr. Wolf just uploaded his review on something I'm going to talk about in a moment. But it's like, whoa, where did this side of her come from? It's like, why haven't we seen this side of Celestia before? It's like, damn. And, just that moment. And then along with the fact that you had both of them um, trying to occupy each other's jobs, because basically the end result in the arguing was Starlight's like, she's just lying down on the ground, just she's Starlight's trying to be peacekeeper, believe it or not. But what happens is like it gets to the point where she's trying to like cover her ears, and she's just watching this unfold in front of her, where she's like, that's it, enough's enough. It's like, knock it off, you two. Boom. And she lets out that magic spell I think she's had before, where she ended up switching the cutie marks of Luna and Celestia. And Luna and Celestia end up now stuck now doing each other's jobs. At first they're not happy about, oh, wait a minute, what the heck did you do? Because not only with the cutie marks getting switched, the powers get switched as well. Starlight, in her best attempt to kind of save herself, says, "Look, you guys said it yourselves. You think you can do the other's jobs better than each other, or like you can do." And basically, Starlight comes out and says, "Hey, you both said it yourselves. You both feel you can do each other's jobs better than the other, and well, now you have the chance to prove it." So, yeah, even when they took over each other's jobs for one day, it was like, holy moly. I mean, Luna's. I'll say this: I love what they did with Luna here. I mean, you can tell that she does. Let's be honest, Luna, she does smile. She does smile. She's nice. She's kind and everything. But there does come a time, even in real life, where some people are like so tired, where even if they try to make the effort to smile, it's hard for them to do. But just the fact that Luna kept trying all day and night to think, oh, all I have to do is smile and be adorned by the public. You know, it's like it was more than obviously she was wrong, because she realized there is more to Celestia's job than she imagined. And heck, her no longer being able to hold a smile, it's like, yeah, that part was funny, but it was also like, holy moly, she nearly cost the Phillies a field trip that they had been wanting to go on because she couldn't hold a smile much longer. And again, it's just I can't say any more than what I've said in my review and what anybody else has said about this episode. It's good. It is really good. And Starlight, whether you like Starlight Glimmer or you don't, was the right choice of a character because even the princesses say it at the end. Even Luna says it at the end. You know, not only was the map wise in sending her, but it was wise because but it was wise by sending her because it knew that she would be the only pony bold enough to do what she did. So again, overall, I can't really say any more positive things about this episode that I didn't already say in my review and that others haven't said in their reviews. So all I can say is you've not seen a royal problem from season 7 of Friendship is Magic, go to Netflix, check it out. It is there. You will like it. You'll get a kick out of it. You'll get more than a few chuckles, believe me. All right. Hold on here. All right, next up, I mentioned that Dr. Wolf just uploaded his review of something that just came out this weekend. And what that came out this weekend was the Equestria Girls special Forgotten Friendship. Now, apparently, it's adapted or it's based and adapted from a junior novel or a novel that came out around last year called A Friendship to Remember. Now, some people have said that this special was actually in the works before the book came out, so maybe the book's based off the special, but the book came out before the special, so I don't know. But anyway, from what I've understood and from what I've heard and from what I've seen, bits and pieces here, this actually turned out to be a very good. Now I haven't. Now here's the thing: I have not seen. I have not seen all the entire special yet. Mind you, I have not seen the entire special. But from what I've heard and what I've been seeing, and from what I've been shown clip wise and all that, this was probably one of the better episodes they've done. Seriously, it is. Probably one of the better episodes they've, well, not episodes, but one of the better specials they've done. The reason being because of the fact that, to me, this is my honest opinion. This is my honest opinion. Um, but, and again, this is my honest opinion. Even though it was for maybe what the final half of the first half of the special, which would probably be part one of a two-part special, both episodes being 22 minutes long. But to me, it felt more like a Friendship is Magic special than it did an Equestria Girls special, because even though for at least I would summarize, I'm summarizing maybe around the last 10 minutes or so, 9 to 10 minutes of the first half of the special, the last 9 to 10 minutes of the first 22 minutes. Um, it just that, even though it was short, that made it feel more like a Friendship is Magic storyline than it did an Equestria Girls storyline, because you got to see something. We got to see something here that fans have been waiting to see for a long time. And like I said, even though it is an Equestria Girls special, a majority of it is just those 9 to 10 plus minutes in the the, latter half of the first half of the special I think made it feel more like friendship is magic. I mean, here's why. Twilight's geek out is one of them. It's one of the primary reasons it felt more like a friendship is magic deal. Because Twilight, as far as we know, as far as any of us know, never geeked out, if you will, never truly geeked out over books and all that when she was in the Equestria Girls world. She never did. So for her to geek out the way she did in this, to me, it just felt it gave it that friendship as magic feel that was needed, and I think that was probably the best decision to go with because I think the writers, the creative staff knew that okay, by the time this special comes out, we're going to have literally 37 days before season 8 begins, and fans are still going to and fans that are not that are not entirely into Equestria Girls yet, but have at least tolerated it or tried to give it a chance, this is probably the best thing we can give them, or something like that. To what I'm trying to say, and I know it's early, so I do apologize. What I'm trying to say is that moment that Sunset Shimmer went back into Equestria to get help from Twilight to figure out what was going on and why her friends were not remembering her, to me was the highlight, the true highlight. I mean, I'm not going to say that anything else about it was bad because again, I haven't seen it all. You know, I did DVR it on for to watch later, maybe record later. I did download it via Dailymotion and savevideo.me. And again, I haven't watched it all, but the parts that took place in Equestria, the Friendship is Magic world, made it feel more like a Friendship is Magic special than it did Equestria Girls. And the reason it felt more like that is because it feels like Sunset just naturally fits in there. I mean, I understand Sunset is the face. She is the face that runs the place, if you will, of Equestria Girls. To paraphrase and quote John Cena. She's basically the mascot of Equestria Girls. But the more I notice, it seems they're trying to move towards Saitwai, the human uh, doppelganger of Twilight. They're trying to move more towards her as the centerpiece than Sunset. It's like, in a sense, Sunset going back to Equestria in Mirror Magic, and then here in Forgotten Friendship, which was adapted from Friendship to Remember, it's almost like the writers are preparing to send her back and thus setting the wheels in motion, possibly, and I could be wrong, for Saitwai, the human Twilight, to take over as the de facto leader of the main six or the main seven. Now, I could be wrong. Like I said, I could be wrong, and they may not be planning that. But here's the thing. We know that when Gen 5 comes out, the plan is to have Equestria Girls still go on. But according to Millennimus, who did sort of a after showing discussion of his own, he talked about the fact that the characters are seniors in high school. Because the whole thing about this story, about the story arc, was it was about a year. It started out about it. It started out one of the main subplots of it, minor subplots, was about a yearbook, So usually when they talk about a yearbook and about what memories they're going to be able to put into said yearbook, that usually means something is just around the corner. Now, why would they? Now, the thing is, why would students want to try to capture memories to put in memories of the friendships and all that and the moments as friends into a yearbook if they weren't getting ready to graduate? I'm just saying. So, to me, I think what's happening is, oh, sorry. But to me, I think what's happening is that, again, what I think is happening is they are setting the tone to possibly, and again, I could be wrong, possibly move Sci-Tri into the role that Sunset's in as sort of like that de facto leader of the group, and this would allow Sunset after she graduates either to maybe go off and go to a different educational facility like a university and maybe continue making friends there. Maybe if I'm wrong, they decide to keep her and her friends together and put them in one university together, which might work. Or, as I'm saying, and I'm just speculating on this, they could be opening the door to where Sci-Tri comes in and becomes that de facto leader, and Sunset is able to go back. And thus, this opens the door for Sunset to go back to Equestria and live her life there. And by going back and living her life in Equestria, she can start making up for what she had caused there, just like she did in the human world. In other words, she could start redeeming herself more there, just as much as she did in the human world. Again, it's just speculation, but why would they want to talk about a yearbook and creating memories to put in said yearbook if they weren't graduating, or maybe Sunset wasn't graduating? I'm just saying. It makes a lot of sense to me. To me, it makes somewhat a lot of sense that maybe that might be where they're going, especially if they're planning to keep Equestria Girls going even into Gen 5 of My Little Pony. And if they're planning to do that, Sunset represents somewhat of Gen 4. So her being not pushed out of the picture, but being able to move on with her life, knowing that her friends have everything well in hand, that she's leaving things in good hands, might be the direction they're going in, but I could be wrong. But then again, why are they now suddenly in the past year or so, or less than a year, if you will? What's it been? Let's see, July, August. See, 5, 6, 7, in the past 7 months, just about. Why in the past 7 to 8 months have they had in Mirror Magic, like I said earlier, Sunset go back to Equestria just because she needs to get a new journal that's going to allow her and Twilight to communicate, or continue to communicate. And why would she have to go back? And why would they from a story perspective? Why would they set it up for her to go back to Equestria to try to figure out what's going on in her world when she could probably figure it out without having to do so? Or maybe she could write to Twilight in a journal and say, hey, this is what's going on. Can you see if you can find out any information on your end? I'm just saying. They they could have had her do that and she wouldn't have had to leave the human world to figure it out. But the reason they added that element in was because, in my opinion, they're probably setting her up to be you know, they're setting her up to probably pass the torch to, let's say, Sci-Twi, the human Twilight, to take over or to become the de facto leader of the group. Again, I could be, again, I know I sound like, I know I'm repeating my words here and I do apologize. But again, I could be wrong, but honestly, it just seems too obvious in my opinion. It just does. I mean, if it wasn't that obvious, let's look at it this way. They could have done this several times in the previous movies and specials, but they didn't. And that's, have Sunset go back to Equestria. They could have had her appear in Friendship is Magic, maybe as well, but they didn't. The point is, I feel that they're setting her up to go back. And that's my dog. She's okay. She just woke up a little bit. That's my dog. She's all right. She just woke up a little bit. But like I said, why would they have her do all that unless they're setting her up maybe to go back and leave the world that she once called home, or that she called home for quite some time, in the hands of her new friends, in the hands of the human equivalent of the main six. You know, I'm just saying, I'm just pointing that out as a possibility. But here's the thing, though. Speaking of Sunset, like I said, when she returned to Equestria to try to figure out what was going on with the help of Twilight, not only did it make it feel more like a Friendship as Magic deal than it did an Equestria Girls deal, and probably felt the same way even after she went back to the human world. There was one moment that happened in the special that a lot of fans were looking forward to. There was one moment that they didn't have to do, and again, it probably plays into my theory that they might be setting her up to go back down the line. But there was one moment that a lot of fans have been waiting for, and that was the reunion of Celestia and Sunset. And like I said in my video on why Sunset Shimmer is such a popular character, I loved the idea that they had Sunset. I mean, Twilight tried to start speaking for her, but Sunset finally took it upon herself to humble herself in front of Celestia and ask for forgiveness, guidance, and knowledge. She humbled herself. She basically came to her and said, "Hey, I screwed up. I'm the one that betrayed you. And I'm the one that betrayed you and left you. But I'm back. I'm here to owe up for what I've done because I've changed." And just for the fact that she was able to humble herself and say the right words, say the words that were needed from her heart, the moment was made even, that helped make the moment even more special. Because once Celestia hears this, she approaches Sunset, and just as Sunset's thinking, okay, maybe, but, and just before Sunset thinking, okay, maybe you still haven't forgiven me, maybe I shouldn't really be here, basically Sunset, as soon as Celestia approaches Sunset, Sunset's, ready to kind of back out and say, or you could just forget I said anything and you won't have to see me again. But Celestia, being Celestia, lifts her chin up with her hoof and says that she's missed her, that she's missed her. And she calls her by her full name. She says, "I've missed you, Sunset Shimmer." And that's enough for Sunset to kind of break down just a bit, say she's so sorry for what she's done, and they embrace. And then, of course, you have a little bit of comedicness with Twilight doing a little squee in the background, which I think pretty much represents all the fans at that time because, or at that time, at that moment, because thank, it's like, thank the Lord, we finally got this moment. Long overdue, but it finally happened. It was long overdue, but it finally happened. And Twilight's reaction was basically the reaction of a lot of the fans. It was like, yes, finally, thank you, thank you, thank you. I mean, I can't say again. I can't say enough about what they did here. Again, I can't say enough about what they did. And again, depending on how long they had her stay in the Equestria world, in the Friendship is Magic world, to me, it just felt it just felt natural. Just felt natural and felt right. And I love the fact and his thing. I love how um I love Sunset. Here's the thing: they had moments here. They had some moments in here that after she started interacting with them, or she got back together with them, if you will, after she reunited with Celestia and all that, there were moments after that that got a chuckle out of a lot of people. Like when like when Luna was talking about the kind of following up on what Celestia said about the magic being in the human world. Sunset's reaction, was cute. It was funny because she said it herself. She's used to seeing the humans. To hearing. She's used to hearing the human Luna say something about no driving in the parking lot or something like that, and all that. So, she got a chuckle out of that, and even Luna's reaction was like, this place sounds like a place with great power." And it's like she doesn't get it. It's like Luna, hopefully they explained it to her off panel, off screen, but Luna just didn't get it right there. Like, it's not a great power. You're just a principal trying to tell us not to do something. I mean, even Twilight got a chuckle out of it because she knows what Sunset's talking about. But I think what really stole the show was Twilight's geek out. When they went to the Canterlot Library, Sunset's like, "Oh, this place has got a lot of books." Twilight's like, "Hey, yeah, it's got a lot of books, but I know most of them like the back of my hoof." But then she notices Celestia going off this way, and she's like, "Celestia, where are you going?" And Celestia's like, "I'm going to the restricted area." And Twilight's freak out right there. I was like, "This is a restricted." And it's Sunset's like, "Calm down on Twilight." It's like, "Breathe, Twilight." I mean, Twilight's reaction just overall when she hears there's a restricted area, the door, and Luna and Celestia open the passageway to said restricted area, and and Twilight's facial reaction was like, "Ah," and Sunset had to kind of shut it a little bit with a hoof. And then the moment they walked in there and Twilight sees all these unread books, she's like, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, so many unread books!" And then she's going all around and looking at all of them and mentioning which, what's there. And it's like, "Oh my gosh, this is here and this is here," and you just see Celestia and Sunset just getting a chuckle out of it and a laugh out of it because it's like the friend, the because basically the friend, or in Celestia's case, her student or semi-student or equal, whatever, is just geeking out on something that she never thought she'd ever see. A library of unread books. But honestly, to get back on point of what I'm talking about, just even though I have not watched all of it just yet, even though I have not watched all of it just yet, Um, I will say that I will say that that moment alone. If you don't want to watch, here's the thing: if you're not into Equestria Girls, and here, this here, doesn't, and this special here doesn't still get you into them or get you invested in them, or kind of get you thinking, okay, I'll give it a chance. If this special doesn't do it, then I would suggest that 15 minutes in, or 13 to 15 minutes in, at least stay for that 13, maybe, I would say this, between 13 to 15 minutes in, that's when you should start watching and at least stay there until that moment's over. In other words, stay for the moment that sunset, tune into the moment that sunset goes to Equestria, and then after she goes back, if you don't want to watch the rest, just turn it off. Because if you only want to see her back in Equestria, her reuniting with Celestia and all that, then that part's probably the most. That part's probably going to be the best part. Then that sequence, those scenes, those moments, those 10 minutes, if you will probably be the best 10 minutes you're going to have watching anything Equestria Girls related. That's if you don't want to watch the special, if you're not into Equestria Girls as much. For me, I think this might be my first shot at it. My first real shot at it, because there are some good moments from what I understand. There are moments where they acknowledge the fact that they break into song and how songs breaking into song would interrupt what they're doing or stuff like that. So I might give it a try. I might give it a shot there and see what happens. But like I said, but like I said, even if that doesn't do it for you, and all you really want to see is Sunset going back to Equestria and thus reuniting and reconciling with uh with Celestia. If that's all you want to see is those two reconcile and reunite, then fine, go ahead. I would say start around 13 minutes, the 13-minute mark, and then wait until it ends there. So that's all I'm gonna really say. If you don't want to watch all of the whole special and you just want to see that part, go ahead. Um, but overall, I will say that moment was long overdue. In fact, if you look at various social media sites from right here on the from the YT to the DM to the FB to the tweet, if you will, to the Vimo to the Vimos, if you will, and whatever, or the OneDrives or what have you, you will notice, and this is the truth, that the special has been uploaded. It has been, but even if it hasn't been, the Sunset's return to Equestria, her reuniting and reconciling with Celestia, and what follows are the only things that I've noticed are getting the social media treatment the most, if you will. They're the ones getting the social media treatment the most. Not the whole special. Not the whole special or anything, but just Sunset's return to Equestria and her reuniting with Celestia and all that is probably the ones getting the most social media buzz and attention, if you catch my drift, from the YT to the DM to the FB to the tweet to the Vebs to the Vimos and all that. So, but I'm gonna give it a shot. If I can't record it off my DVD recorder, because I did DVR it, like I said earlier, I did download it courtesy of savevideo.me from Daily Motion. So I might use my DVD burner to put it onto DVD and go from there. But hopefully I won't have to do that because I do have a 1 hour option, HQ option on my DVD recorder that I could use that will allow me to go from there as well. Anyway, with that said, let's talk about season 8. Season 8 is going to be premiering in about 34 days, 34 and a half, if you will, on Discovery Family. And yes, as we know, several episodes of season 8 have already been leaked online in the past several months. They're not complete, so they're not totally complete. I mean, some of them are full length feature 22-minute episodes, but they're not complete because there is no sound effects or background music or whatever for that matter. So, season 8, it's premiering in about 34 and a half days. And a lot of people are, despite the leaks, are looking forward to it. And in case anybody's wondering whether or not it's going to be entirely school-based, I said this before, I'll say it again. Only 10 episodes are going to center around the school and the students. And about 16 are going to be non-school related. So about 10 are going to be school and student related, 16 are not. Which I think is a great way to go because you do want to establish that your selling point for the season being the school of friendship, but you also want to stay true to what made Friendship is Magic good in the first place, and that's the main six, and them being together or them being paired off, courtesy of the cutie map or certain circumstances having them to do so. So, again, in case anybody's wondering, um, in case anybody's wondering if it's going to be all about school, no, it's going to be basically 10 episodes that are school and student related and 16 that are not, as far as I counted on the episode list. So, anyway, with that said, um, with that said, the next thing I want to talk about here, if I can find it, is the 1 hour Christmas special or Hearthwarming special. Well, basically the holiday special, the Christmas special, if you will, of which was given a title called The Best Gift Ever. Now, according to eyewitnesses at the Toy Fair this past weekend, the New York Toy Fair, there have been some promotional items and toys related to said special. Now, basically, from what I understand, it's about the main six trying to find the best gift for each other, sort of like a Secret Santa kind of thing. I think they're called Hearth Helpers or something like that. Hearth warming helpers. And basically that's the equivalent, like I said, of Secret Santa. So they're basically trying to figure out who is, what can they get for each other, because being Secret Santas, you're basically shopping for trying to find. Because here's the thing about Secret Santas, in case some people don't know, and I know a lot of people do. Secret Santa is basically where you draw a name out of a hat or whatever, and that's the person you're going to have to get the gift for, but you can't really say. who it is until they open it. And that's basically the same with, I think, the hearthwarming helper situation, to where the main seven, eight, whatever are going to pick out names of who they're going to be the secret Santa of, and then go and try to find a gift for whoever they got. So it sounds like it's going to be interesting. I know there's going to be songs in it, and it is, and just like with Forgotten Friendship, it's going to be a 44-minute special, basically an hour long Christmas special that may air, well, not may, but will definitely air on Saturday on the Saturday and Sunday morning of that weekend when it would premiere. But 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 like I said, it'll be around that. But I also think it might be aired in prime time as well. It's a Christmas special. Essentially, it's a Christmas special. So I think it's also going to be aired during prime time as well. So um, I'm definitely looking forward to it. It sounds interesting. Um, I'm definitely going to try to record it, DVR it, maybe DVD record it down the line, and maybe make it part of one of my traditional holiday special movie DVD sets. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. Hold on for a second, folks. Let me. Never mind. No, but like I said, maybe I'll do that when it comes out, because the synopsis sounds good, and the fact that they're already promoting, what it's going to be about and who could possibly be in it. I mean, there's a possibility we're going to get Cadence and Shining Armor involved as well. So that's interesting. That'll be nice to see. But overall, overall, we'll just have to wait until we get some kind of trailer, maybe for it, maybe a month or two, a couple months before. Maybe come San Diego Comic Con, maybe even BabsCon. We might get some more information about it. Maybe we'll get some kind of um, what's known as a animatic work in progress when it comes to it. Maybe do a work in progress animatic at BabsCon or San Diego Comic Con. Maybe perhaps they'll get some kind of idea of what it'll look like or sound like um, at that time doing one of those events. So yeah, Christmas specials coming out. That basically equals up to two 44-minute specials for the year. And we'll see, and we'll just have to wait and see what we get. We get with the special, and hopefully, like I said, maybe as we get closer to BabsCon, maybe the closer we get to San Diego Comic Con, maybe we'll get more information. Maybe we'll get an animatronic a WIP animatronic, which is a work in progress animation, to kind of, like I said, kind of give us an idea of what we're going to get. And I know I'm repeating myself, so I do apologize on that. All right, next up, and get up here. Next up, and finally, we're going to talk about season 9 and how it is announced as possibly the last season of Friendship is Magic. Now, I say possibly, even though it has been confirmed on Twitter that it's going to be 26 episodes long, and it is going to be the last season. That's what they say now. But we all know that sometimes when a series continues to be successful financially and viewership wise, and reviews of episodes and reaction to episodes are positive, that's pretty much going to change. That will pretty much change the tone of the people behind the show, and they might decide, you know what, maybe we can go another season or two with Friendship is Magic. But we'll have to wait and see. Um, I pretty much came out and in a reply to a video, not a video, but a topic that was brought up about creating a season nine episode list. I pretty much I pretty much said what I felt could be done with season nine, and I'm going to stick by it. You know, I feel that you should begin season nine with a two-parter where basically you have all these antagonists that I've mentioned that are still antagonists or rivals or whatever. You know, get confronted and defeated by the main 6, 7, or 8. And then at the end of part 2, after they're defeated, they all slowly, at different times, get teleported to this one area by this mysterious force. And we find out that the mysterious force is a G4 interpretation of a G1 character called Majesty. But instead of Majesty being a unicorn, we make her a rogue alicorn that is responsible for the overall creation of the dark magic that helped give birth, helped to create the nightmare magic, helped to create the Pony of Shadows, and so on. And we use her reveal at the end of part 2 as the one that's separating these antagonists, these villains together. We use that and the villains and the antagonist association with her to slowly, not every episode, but every other episode, build towards the finale. So in other words, you're connecting the beginning with the end, and by doing so, and you're doing so by connecting every other episode, and like I said, by doing so, you're using every other episode to connect that, to make that connection. So you're doing what you can to build to the finale. And like I said, you use that 2-part premiere to start building towards it. In every other episode, you acknowledge, and then you use every other episode after that to start building towards that finale. And that finale should have a couple of things tied into it. You should have, because if you're still going to do Sugar Bell and Big Mac as a couple, then you should have that. Then you should have one of the events tying into it being the wedding, as well as at the same time, you tie in the fact that maybe Celestia gets notified by, or gets some kind of message, mystical message or something like that, or whatever, or notified by Star Swirl that her time is coming to ascend to a higher plane, and that she has to choose a successor to take her place. In other words, Celestia's time in her current form, her current state, is coming to an end, and soon she'll be ascending to this higher plane to where it's like she'll just spread herself out all across the Equestria world and watch over it like that. Like she'll still be there, but she'll still be there in spirit as part of the planet. So she needs to choose a successor, and that successor would just happen to be Twilight. But then you might ask, well, what about Luna? Luna's the princess of the night, and believe it or not, Luna would be more in favor of Twilight being that successor. And then that's where you can play into the fact of, okay, who would be the de facto leader of the main 607 if that occurs. So, and you can play the Starlight role again. You can bring Sunset back as a potential candidate, stuff like that. So, and you can tie it all together. I mean, heck, if you bring Sunset back, you tie the whole Equestria Girls connection with Friendship is magic, and thus, as I mentioned earlier, having the the human Twilight, take over as the de facto leader of the human six, the humane six as they call them. Well, she goes back to Equestria, and maybe this is why she goes back. She's chosen to become the new de facto leader of the main 6 or 7. Now that Twilight has to basically take the place of her mentor, who's now going to ascend to this higher plane. So that's how I think, in a way, they should work on season 9, on the final season, if season nine's it. They should use the end of the two-parter, to build towards the finale, and then kind of use every other episode to help build towards it. And in that finale, you can have a lot of events tied into it. Big Mac and Sugar Bell's wedding, potentially Celestia ascending to a higher plane, and she has to choose um, a successor to take her place, and that successor is Twilight. But at the same time, but at the same time, in the finale, you also use but you also use the finale to establish a connection between Majesty, Luna, Celestia, and Star Swirl. You give Majesty a background of being that one alicorn that Star Swirl could not teach. That was more rebellious than even Sunset and Starlight combined. And you just go from there. You reveal that like I said earlier, you reveal that she's the one that's done to create all that darkness that's come about throughout the 1,000+ years and stuff like that. You just go from there, and I think it would make things more intriguing, more interesting. And if you set it up from the very beginning, the end of the second part of the final season premiere, and you use it to set up to this finale, you're going to have people's attention from beginning to end, because they'll never know exactly what every other episodes are going to be dedicated to continuing that story arc to the finale. I also feel that even in between all that, there are questions and stuff they need to address. They need to finally address, whether or not Pinky and Applejack are related. They need to address maybe some romance in there for some of the main six, like Rainbow Dash and Soren, what have you. As well as Spike and Rarity. It's like I said in one video. If you're not going to make Spike and Rarity official, then drop it. Don't do it. But season 9, I think they should finally address it, and I think they will finally address it. And I think the end result is Spike and Rarity are going to get together. I really do. I really think they're going to get together, and people are going to like it. They're going to enjoy it. So it's going to be, well, maybe not a lot of people are going to like it and enjoy it, but I know it's going to be done in a way that's like, well, it's the last season. They're going to start G5 off on a clean slate. Okay, fine. They want to do it, let them do it. So, the way I look at it, though, besides those situations, besides episodes being dedicated to those moments, those questions need to be answered, those situations that need to be addressed, those theories that need to be addressed and answered. Besides episodes being dedicated to those, like I said, every other episode should have a connection to the end of the two-part premiere and a connection to the series finale, which I will say should be presented as a made-for-television movie, which you can later on, which Hasbro and DHX can later on break up into 4 parts. So, so overall, that's just my opinion how I think season 9 should be handled from beginning to end if it's the final season. So, but we'll have to wait and see. We may get the announcement of a season 10 during the run of season 8. We'll have to wait and see. So, overall, that's all I'm going to say this morning on this live discussion, on this live stream, and the talk, and the My Little Pony Friendship and Magic talk. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you all for watching live. Thank you all for watching post live after it's been uploaded already. And that's all I'm going to say on all the topics I've talked about. And I'm going to try to get a little bit of shut eye before I have to wake up to get ready for work. So let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. Again, thank you all for watching live this morning. And thank you all for watching post live after it's been uploaded. And you all have a blessed, and safe President's Day. Take care. God bless, folks. I'm out. And I'm sorry if I repeated myself and rambled on a lot, but that's just who I am, so at times. But again, have a blessed President's Day. God bless. Take care.